Welcome to Good Morning Canada. I'm Dr.Singh, and today's segment will be focusing on the controversial project, Keystone XL. And today I'll be joined with special guest V.J, an American author who specializes in the American economy, and Gaurav Kumar, who specializes in the international affairs. But take a little preview before we focus on our topic. Take a look.
The Keystone XL pipeline is a 2,000-mile funnel that would pump oil from the Canadian tar sands south to the refineries on the U.S. Gulf Coast. If the $5.3 billion pipeline is approved, what does that mean for jobs? It will create about 42,000 direct and indirect jobs nationwide during the 2-year building phase. Almost 4,000 are pipeline construction jobs. But the pipeline is only expected to create 35 permanent jobs. As for oil profits, a recent report forecasts a razor-thin profit for oil companies. Why? The recent shale boom created a glut of oil in the north-central United States, dragging down prices. But if oil from the tar sands can make it to the Gulf Coast via the pipeline, it competes against the Mexican crude benchmark. That's projected at $89 a barrel in 2015. If it stayed in Canada, the projected benchmark is $69. That's a $20 difference. But not so fast. That $20 premium doesn't necessarily mean big profits. Canada's heavy crude is some of the most expensive to produce. It needs to fetch at least $65 a barrel just to break even. Add in transport costs, including extra lubricants needed to get it through the pipeline. And the profit margin drops to just $5.50 a barrel in the Mexican market in 2015. And if the pipeline doesn't get approved, who are the winners and losers? TransCanada, owner of the proposed pipeline, stands to lose a lot. The company has sunk $2.3 billion into the Keystone project. And companies like Suncor Energy, Cenovus Energy, and ConocoPhillips could also face hurdles getting their product to market. The next best option, railroads. 150,000 barrels of oil a day is moved by train from Canada, and that's expected to increase to 360,000 barrels a day by the end of 2014. But rail is much pricier than the pipeline, and that means rail investors like Warren Buffett could win big. The longer the pipeline gets pushed back, the higher the demand for rail.
Welcome back. Today we'll be discussing the Pipeline XL. This recently has been a popular demand by reviewers all around the world. I'll be exploring this topic with V.J, American author, and Gaurav, an international economist. Okay, so we know this project hasn't been officially in production, but it is a proposed project which has caught the attention of many Americans and Canadians. The Pipeline XL is about 1,179 miles long and 36 inches in diameter. It extends from Atlanta all the way through Nebraska. So VJ, what is your take on general in this project?
Well, I believe this proposed extension is already an amazing addition to the already successful Keystone pipeline that already exists. This extension will already bring an enormous amount of benefits to both Canadian and Americans, especially towards the economy as well. So aside from it creating greater trade relations with Canadian economy and their government, it will prominently focus on the increase in employment that's available to both Canadians and Americans. Just for say, the construction jobs itself, a well-paying construction job, there'll be an enormous amount of those, over 9,000, including it will also support 42,000 direct and indirect jobs just from the Keystone Pipeline XL and the Gulf project alone combined.
Mm-hmm. What about Gaurav?
I would have to respectfully disagree with this proposed project. I think the tar sands are not a conventional source of petroleum, as they're made out of sand, clay, water, and bitumen. We could be getting much efficient oil from somewhere else in the world. Also, the pipeline also affects the lands of wildlife and citizens living on that land.
As you know, there's a lot of negative controversy surrounding this plan. In your perspective, why do you think this project should be brought to raise awareness to the public, and why should they be in favor of this plan?
Well, personally, the Keystone Pipeline XL is a significant event in today's society right now, as it affects multiple factors such as politically, historically, socially, geographically, and most importantly, economically. Right now, without the extension, the capacity of the barrels per day is 590,000. But with the XL extension, it has brought it up to 830,000, which brings in $2 billion in economic benefit into the U.S. Right? So that's already a huge benefit, as well as the Keystone XL will add more than an estimated $100 million in additional revenue just in the first year alone. So far, in the entire lifetime, the system will pay hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes to states and countries. So that's another benefit. It just keeps on coming. Another one is that the existing Keystone pipeline has already generated $100 million in revenue for both Canada and United States. So just keeps getting better. So there's nothing that they can't be in favor of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of economic benefits on this project. After hearing VJ's opinion, how does this proposed project affect the economies globally?
Well, on a global scale, the United States still has a pretty big dependence on international oil suppliers such as Saudi, Venezuela, and other parts of the Middle East. This pipeline can cause many of these big suppliers to lose a big buyer, which is the United States. And since these countries rely heavily on the oil industry to strengthen their economy, they'll be losing a large portion of their buyer. With oil, this results in a decrease from oil from Venezuela and the Middle East by a whopping 40%.
Okay, now we'll be taking calls from viewers. I believe the first person, John. Okay, John.
So, my question for you guys is, how will this pipeline affect the animals living upon it and the landowners who are being affected by the production of the pipeline?
Gaurav, you can take this question.
Alright, so basically the environment is a very big stakeholder in this plan. It affects the environment and citizens living on that land. The pipeline will run through sovereign lands of several indigenous tribes. And it has already displaced over thousands of people by this current system. Also, the production of the extension will create an increase in greenhouse gas emissions. So there are many environmental factors which are a negative upset to this plan. Also, Obama stated that he would only approve the extension if it did not significantly worsen the problem of carbon pollutants. So as you can see, this project environmentally is pretty bad.
Alright, thank you, John, for calling. Alright, I think we have one more question. You can take this?
Yeah.
Okay, Taylor, let's go. I think we're done for answering questions for today.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, anyways, Gaurav, how does the Keystone XL pipeline affect oil prices?
This is a misconception many people have that the Keystone Pipeline XL will reduce the prices of oil, but really there isn't going to be much change. The price of crude oil does affect the price of gasoline, and refiners set up to use these heavy crude oils would much enjoy the lower priced oil. That would make those refiners more profitable, but it wouldn't necessarily lower the prices of gasoline. Wholesale gasoline prices are based on a market benchmark, and these market benchmarks are more closely correlated to the highest price rather than the lowest.
If the Senate has already approved on this project, why is there still so much dispute regarding this topic?
Well, basically, TransCanada can't begin the construction until they receive a presidential permit, since it crosses the international border now. And like Gaurav Kumar had already stated, Barack Obama vetoed the permit already. He said he would only approve the extension past the border if it did not do any significant if it has significantly worsened the already existing problem of carbon pollution.
I think that's it for today. Thank you, V.J. and Gaurav, for coming on our show, spreading some awareness on this Keystone XL pipeline. This is a really controversy in today's public, both American and Canadian.
Yep.
So thank you once again. Okay, this is all. Goodbye.
News.